Welcome, guys, to SW6 Live and our review of the game yesterday at the King Power Stadium, where, of course, we won the game by 2-1. And on the panel, I should say, tonight is Mo. Good evening, Mo.
Good evening to you as well, Tony, and anyone else out there that's watching. I'm really excited to talk about the game as always, and I'm so glad that we've got the victory, mate.
Fair enough, buddy. I think I've still got a little bit of feedback, mate, coming off. I don't know if you've got the volume on your ends.
Mine's definitely not on, mate.
Okay, well, I'm getting a bit of feedback. I'm not no more.
Okay, perfect.
There you go. Okay, get home all right then, mate? Obviously,
Yeah.
I dropped you off quite late, didn't I? You know, we got back to Peterborough and
well, on my way back, I bumped into a few Chelsea fans. I bumped into a few Arsenal fans who were very, very happy, I must say, and I also bumped into a few West Ham fans. But yeah, obviously it's a Saturday night, so you can imagine everyone's out getting pissed and everything. So you can imagine what sort of people I bumped into on my way back. But yeah, I managed to get home quite safely about 11:30, which was a bit of a change. Obviously, usually it's you that has to travel all the way back.
So really, really weird for me because normally on a night game, for example, Tuesday night, I know for a fact I won't get back till about 2:30.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if I don't catch the 11:05 train, it means that I've then got to get the slow one. I think the next one's 12:30, and it sort of like chugs all the way back to Peterborough.
Yeah.
The time I go it's about 2:30, you know, once I've got the cab and, you know, that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it was really strange, like, you know, to know that you had to do that this time around. And because, you know, I only live 40 miles up the road from Leicester. So, there you go. So it was, you know, funny enough, 2 seasons ago, Mo, I don't even know why I did it. I actually drove from Peterborough to Milton Keynes to catch the supporters coach.
Wow.
It's stupid, wasn't it? Because when I was coming back to Milton Keynes, I was going past my house. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do that again. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose I just wanted to, you know, be with some mates or whatever. You know what it's like, sort of thing. But there you go. Anyway, okay, 2-1. I predicted the score, as we all know, and 3 wins on the spin now. We move obviously up to 3rd in the table. And I suppose let's look at the how we lined up first and foremost. No surprises, obviously. We pretty much predicted the side except for one particular change. Thibaut Courtois, as we know, in goal. In a back 3, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, who I thought was absolute quality, and obviously Luiz in the centre of those 3. With the 2 wing backs, Victor Moses and Marcos Alonso. And of course, Cesc Fabregas moved further forward with Bakayoko coming in, who I'm really going to talk about him a little bit later. And of course, the ever impressive N'Golo Kante, and of course, Pedro and Alvaro Morata. But no Willian. Surprised, bud, for that?
And I guess in a way, yes, I was a little bit surprised. I was expecting us to go with the formation that we're familiar with, but obviously going to the formation of the one that we used against Spurs, that did surprise me just a little bit because I didn't expect us to be using that against Leicester. But then when you think about the strength that Leicester possess, I can see exactly why we did that, and I can see why. And probably starting Willian in the bench was probably the best call because after all, he did have to make a far travel from all the way from South America. So for that reason, I guess it made sense from that perspective.
And of course, Eden Hazard on the bench, no surprises there. We thought he'd be on the bench and come on exactly really 15-20s, which of course he did. Not really much of a surprise there. But just looking at our bench now, it's very strong, isn't it? I mean, with Caballero, Hazard, Danny Drinkwater, who actually, I know N'Golo Kante got reception from the Leicester City fans, but Danny Drinkwater didn't, did he? As he got off the coach, we had some, because the Chelsea supporters coach, funny enough, got there really early, didn't they? They actually got there before us.
Yeah.
So normally they get there about an hour and a half before the game, but they were nearly 2 hours before the game. So they managed to see the Chelsea coach come in.
Yeah.
And Danny Drinkwater got absolutely abused, didn't he, by the Leicester supporters? Any surprises there, mate?
And it feels like I don't know. Like I think our club seems to be one of the few clubs that I know of, at the very least, that doesn't tend to boo their former players, regardless of what sort of statement or what sort of situation we leave them under. And it's very surprising to see a lot of teams usually not kind of be loyal towards what players have done for them. I mean, Danny Drinkwater is one of the key players that ended up making them win the title, and I think, and also speaking to some of the fans and hearing that they didn't really rate Danny Drinkwater, and they felt like we'd sold him, they'd sold him at a good price to us, and so on and so forth, was quite surprising to hear. I mean, my biggest thing with him before that was the fact that I just thought him being a backup player isn't what I'm really looking for. But other than that, I still felt like he was a good player. I just didn't think he was of our caliber. Now, to obviously go back to the club that you played for and be booed by those fans, it's a bit surprising, I guess. Maybe sometimes what happens is him obviously handing in a transfer request or stuff like that didn't probably sit in well with them. But yeah, it seems to be quite normal with other clubs, whereas ours, we tend to be quite pretty much, like behind our guys, and we make sure that even if they do leave, we show them the respect that they deserve. And I think that for me is very important. So yeah, it was a little bit surprising to see Danny Drinkwater not get the recognition he deserves from the Leicester fans there.
And a lot stronger bench, isn't it? Because we took quite a bit of criticism about our bench, but as I say, Hazard, Caballero, Drinkwater, Willian, Zabacosta, and Michy Batshuayi and Christensen. That's half decent, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah, that's definitely a very strong squad, in my opinion. I think the depth in the squad, the biggest thing with it is when you look at other clubs, obviously, for example, for me, one of the teams that I've been looking at this year is Man United, for example. That's not to say the quality of players that they have are perfect, but I do feel like they have a strong depth in that squad. And if one player goes out, you can replace him almost with an equal kind of player. And for that reason, it was quite worrying to look at Chelsea and not be able to say the same thing for the first time, especially when we looked at it last year. And last year, we just thought, my goodness. I mean, Danny Rose making the comments that he did about Chelsea and saying Diego Costa and Eden Hazard are on the bench, and you just look towards the bench and it kind of just, you had that look on your face of, oh my God, the depth in this squad is so massive. To then suddenly come into the start of the season and feel like, okay, there's no Hazard on that bench. There's so many people missing, and then we have Kyle Scott, and bless him, it's nothing against him as a player. It's just when you look at that squad, you want to make sure that in that bench you have also players that can change the game for you. And yesterday was the first time we were able to look at that bench and be so proud of it and say, you know what, there's Eden Hazard, there's Willian, there's Batshuayi, there's all kinds of players that we can put on and they can have an impact on the game. And I think that just obviously boosts your confidence in so many different ways. So yeah, I'm really happy with the depth in the squad, and I feel like we're far more prepared for more competitions now. And it's now just the hope of hopefully there are no injuries.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've got a lot of games coming up now, haven't we, buddy? For sure. Well, let's look at the first half then, Mo. It was the first half where I thought we didn't have a lot of chances, but both teams didn't really have loads and loads of chances. But I felt the ball was more in their half. We totally had possession to play.
Yeah.
As the stats show, 60% of the ball we had over that period of time. And definitely Cesc Fabregas was pulling all the strings, wasn't
he? Yeah.
And I suppose the game-changing moment was, although we had sort of a couple of half chances where the ball dinking ball from Cesc Fabregas to Morata, and he just couldn't get on the end of it. And he had a shot as well, which was blocked, wasn't it? He just about to pull the trigger. And
there was a shot blocked, and then there was also quite early on when Bakayoko made a run as well, and then literally passed it to Morata, and Morata just it got saved. It was straight at the keeper, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. But the game-changing moment was when they had one of their rare moments where they were attacking us. And a player that was quite quiet throughout the whole afternoon was Mahrez.
Yeah.
And he went on some kind of run. He played in, is it Slimani? And he had a one-on-one, a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, the Algerian, and Thibaut Courtois, the hand save from Thibaut. Fantastic save, wasn't it, buddy?
Fantastic save, definitely. I think that for me was a big indication of how the game was definitely going to be in our favor. I mean, chances like that, when teams miss them, you tend to think it's a knock on the confidence of the team that misses that type of opportunity. And I think that was a golden opportunity for them to take the lead and pretty much build on from there, because as you already said, we were so dominant in that game, and that came actually from a counter attack and from our own corner, which was very scary. So it was a fantastic save by Courtois, and it's the type of saves that I hope to see far more often this season from him. And it looked like a good save, and I felt like that was for us in that moment a building block to saying now we can definitely not worry about them getting many more chances like this, because I think our defense from then onwards became far more compact, and we made far less mistakes, and there was less counter-attacking opportunities for Leicester beyond that too.
But of course, a few minutes later, same combination, Cesar Azpilicueta with the cross, and Alvaro Morata, beautiful, absolute beautiful header, wasn't it? Took the opportunity. It was just perfect, wasn't it? I mean, how good was that goal, mate? And how good was the run? You know,
he's just on point, mate. He's on point when it comes to headers. At the moment, I think Alvaro Morata is untouchable, because you can put that cross into the box, and I think you can almost guarantee yourself that not only is it anywhere close within his vicinity, but he will more than likely get it on target, and more than likely he will actually get it in the back of the net. And that was a fantastic finish. And I think we can't also take away from the fact that that was also a beautiful cross from Cesar Azpilicueta, who I've been quite a little bit unfair on, I'll be very honest. But yesterday for me was the first game where I've watched him where he had no errors in his game and managed to assist again. So for me, I was just so proud of the fact that we not only took that chance, but it came out of nowhere, to be honest. It was one good cross and bam, it's back in the net. And I think that if we can be that much more clinical and score more goals like that, I mean, that could have been his hat trick by then, from what you said already, because he had two early opportunities early on. But that was a fantastic finish by Alvaro Morata, and I can't wait to see far more goals like that.
A little stat for you. Since 2016, only Andrea Belotti in the big five European leagues has scored more goals with his head.
Yeah, it's a very, very impressive stat, I think, and that's for someone who was on the bench, because Belotti is someone who was a starter and is the main man for Torino. And I think when you think about that, that can only get you more excited. There were so many things that Morata did in that match that I felt so impressed by, in my opinion. But I'm not going to get into that. But I just felt like very proud of the fact that yet again, when it came to being clinical, when it comes to his head, he's done a fantastic job again, and he's made sure that he finished his chance. And I can't wait to see more of the same.
Morata's got 9 and Belotti 10.
Wow. So it's one behind only.
Just one behind, buddy. Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Well, half time obviously comes and goes. Really and truly, we fully deserve to be at least 2 in front, or at least a bigger cushion. But we got our cushion 5 minutes into the second half, and Gale Kante, 30 yards out. And it was a weird one, wasn't it? It was almost like the crowd shouted out, shoot, which we always do, of course. Not expecting it. And certainly not expecting the shot, because I don't think it was particularly powerful.
No.
It took an age, didn't it? And it just crept in the corner. I don't think Schmeichel done himself, any favours there, unless he was onside, of course. But it was one of those that it was like, oh wow, okay, 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make of that goal, buddy?
Mate, it's I'll tell you what I make out of that goal. It's in the vlog. I was recording.
Yeah, I know.
I was recording for the sake of recording at that point, and not expecting anything. And you literally hear the fans and myself all go, shoot. And literally he takes the shot, which to us looked like a flipping pass. And we literally all watch it in slow motion, just go into the back of the net. It caught us all by surprise. I think the Leicester fans didn't expect it. And Kasper Schmeichel definitely didn't expect it. And the fact that it was in the back of the net just goes on to show that, you know what? And N'Golo Kante is full of surprises, and I was so happy for him, because I think last year, actually, he did get booed by the Leicester fans when he came there. He got a bit of a mixed reaction from what I understand. So to come there and score, but also still be so respectful and not celebrate the goal as well, I genuinely...
That's right.
I genuinely just thought that was class act by him. And the fact that we got that second goal when we needed to was just, it spoke volumes about his character, and it just kind of set us up for the game even more. And I think even from from that moment onwards, we had several chances after that, and it just kind of again built us up to more of a confidence booster in that game.
Absolutely. But then of course, where you felt we would just go on and get a third, and just consolidate, because I didn't think really Leicester had much to offer. All of a sudden they started to, I don't know, pull themselves up, if you like, and they took the brakes off, and of course they got their little rewards, I guess. Vardy tripped obviously in the box by Thibaut Courtois. Penalty for you, mate. Did Lee Mason get that one right?
And luckily,
he's done us no favours as a referee.
No.
Well, we were told, weren't we, on the way home, weren't we? Because we did a a live thing on Facebook, on the way home, and people on that were telling us, wasn't it? It was
a dive or something like that.
Yeah.
And no, having watched the game back, I think it was a straightforward penalty, honestly speaking, and it was unfortunately Courtois just caught him late, and because of that, it's a straight up penalty. But from where we were obviously we're at the way end. It was so far from where we were. Us Chelsea fans didn't really react to the situation until we found out, the penalty has been given, and all we can say at that point is like, hey, we're so far off, we can't really tell. And even after the game, we still couldn't really tell. And having watched the match of the day back and watching a few other extended highlights on the Chelsea website as well, it was a clear penalty. It was a clear-cut penalty, and it's not really a situation we need to fight. But obviously, there was other sort of moments in the game where we felt quite a little bit hard done by. But then again, what Chelsea game isn't there where at some point where we have to complain about the ref not getting a decision right or something like that. And that was actually one decision where I felt like the ref made the correct decision.
But if I was to turn around and give you this little stat, that since 2014-15, Jamie Vardy has won more penalties in the Premier League than anyone.
What? How many?
11.
11 penalties. You know what? For the type of player he is, that doesn't really surprise me too much now that you say that, because they do go in the counter attack, and it's all about him trying to get on that ball as quickly as possible. And I feel like the penalty we conceded is something that if we probably look back over the years and saw those 11 times that he got the penalties, it wouldn't surprise me that similar situations, because of just what Vardy does. Vardy likes to close people down. Vardy likes to just use his pace, and Vardy ends up getting quite a lot of penalties. So 11 is quite impressive, though, I've got to admit. That's a lot of penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously he converts the penalty, smashes it in, although Thibaut got a little
bit of a touch,
but the power forced the ball in the back of the net. 2-1.
Yeah.
And you're thinking all sorts now. You're thinking here's a game with complete control of. And of course, Leicester are suddenly a different team. The crowd, who I thought were woeful yesterday for Leicester standards, suddenly discovered their voices. And it's a different game, isn't it? For 5 or 10 minutes, it's rocking, isn't it? It's going backwards and forwards both ways.
Yeah, but they didn't we've got to look at it for what it was. I think we were nervous because it's a 2-1 situation, and none of us like a 2-1 situation. We should have killed the game off and made it, just like Josh has already said on their comments here. He said it was easy to avoid that type of situation where we concede a penalty and now suddenly we're on the back foot. It's 2-1. It's so easy to avoid that simply by actually taking our chances, and we didn't. And I think that was what was the biggest surprise about it more than anything, is the fact that by the time they got that 2-1, it was a nervous sort of finish to that game, and we got so many chances to actually just kill the game off at 2-0 that it meant that any time that they went forward, you just thought like by luck something could happen, anything could happen, and suddenly if it's 2-2, it'd be a travesty for all of us because we were so dominant in the game.
Yeah, we were so dominant. That was the most frustrating thing about watching it, because you could almost feel it, couldn't you? You could think, you can just see a set piece, just something, and there you got a game where we've like you say, we've dominated from 60% possession of the ball, but it felt, didn't it? It felt like we were just totally in control of that game. And there you are, sort of like thinking, oh God, maybe they could nick a draw here or whatever, like, you know. But Antonio Conte obviously made some substitutions. 63, Pedro off for Willian. I think that was just a like for like, you know, energy for energy. Do you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we saw Zabacosta, who came on for Victor Moses on 74.
Yeah.
And 78, the long-awaited return of the main man, Eden Hazard, for Cesc Fabregas. I mean, how good were those substitutions? Because I think it calmed it all down.
Yeah.
And we ended up in the last 10, 15 minutes just taking back control of the game and re-dominating possession, playing that very careful sort of passing game from side to side, you know, and moving the ball. And I think they were very well measured sort of substitutions by Antonio Conte.
Yeah, I would 110% agree with that. And the one in particular that stood out to me, for me, it's not because it's his debut, but Zabacosta is the one that stood out to me. The reason being is because Leicester, when they got it back to 2-1, the one thing we noticed is they kept on going towards Asby and Victor Moses, crossing the ball towards there, and they were winning like a lot of the headers. Like literally, we won no headers in that situation. So Zabacosta coming on for me was a no-brainer in that moment, because you needed a tall player that can easily at least win balls, especially when they're just crossing towards that end of the pitch constantly. And for me, that was so important to be made. So when he made that substitution, it was a relief for all of us. And from then after that, obviously,
and he nearly scored. He nearly scored, Mo. He had a chance, didn't he?
Oh, mate, he was so close.
Flashed it across.
Yeah.
Again, that's on the vlog. You managed to catch that one and all, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah.
So, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen the vlog went up literally about 30, 40 minutes about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it is rather good. I've got to say, it's probably one of our better, you know. So check it out, guys, and give it the old thumbs up if you like it.
Yeah.
Really good vlog that is. But he had a great chance, and Willian had a chance as well. Was it Willian that shot where it just bent on the outside of the?
Yep, it was Willian. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, again, it was the game where we really. I thought 2-1 was flattering to Leicester. Did you not think so?
I felt so because I think we had that's by the end of that game, the biggest thing that I saw was, and we won 2-1, but I'm like, God, like we could have won 3-1, 4-1, and there were so many opportunities. The best one being actually, which I think was a great save by Kasper Schmeichel, is that Willian also had another chance just towards the end, and it's in the last part of the vlog as well. And literally, I cannot for the life of me, you could hear it in the vlog. I could not believe he saved that, because literally Willian was just about to take that shot, and as he takes the shot, you think, yep, that's definitely back of the net, and somehow it ends up underneath the keeper, and he ends up saving with one of his hand that's on the back of his back. And I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake, like a goal doesn't want us at that point, does it? And so I feel like it was very flattering score for them, and we could have definitely scored far more. I think in other games, if we were facing teams that can be a bit more clinical than Leicester were, and teams that were able to just cause a little bit more problems, I think what surprised me the biggest thing was that they weren't as much of an aerial threat that I expected to be Leicester.
No.
I genuinely expected some big aerial threats, and they just weren't. And I think that surprised me. I still feel like Harry Maguire had a solid performance there, but at the same time, it surprised me that they didn't use him enough to actually make him more of an aerial threat, especially when they got corners or free kicks and stuff like that. But other than that, I feel like 2-1 is a bit of an understatement in terms of the score that should have been. I think we had plenty of chances to make it far more, and and at least we've got the 3 points. Obviously, it would have been preferable not to finish with a nervy ending.
And Eden Hazard's cameo role, right? I mean, I said in the vlog, didn't I, that we're so used to seeing him week in, week out, and we almost take for granted how good the man is until he's not inside, and then you notice, don't you, the difference, right? Okay, don't get me wrong, we're still a good side and all that, but when you saw him on the ball yesterday, he slows it down. It's almost to a walking pace.
Yeah.
And frightened, aren't they? Because he's got such quick feet and he can accelerate, so quickly out of nowhere. They almost back off, don't they? Well, I don't want him. You have him. You pick him up. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like the ball. It's almost like one of them cartoons where they put a bit of glue on
Mate,
the bloke's foot, and he's just stuck the
he's
ball on the end of it. And you
he's
just
so
realise,
calm.
don't you? Wow, incredible. Even though it was 10, 15 minutes, you really knew that Eden Hazard was on the pitch, didn't you?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing about it was just the calmness he brought. He was such a tease. I mean, you'd get the ball and you'd think, run, Eden, run at them. And he'd just slow down. And you could see the players just being so nervous to approach him because all he does is make them commit. And they don't want to commit, so they stay back off of him and wait for him to do some sort of commitment. And even then, they're still afraid of him. And I feel like that's something we've missed. Having someone that when they get on the ball, the other team look worried and completely just out of place, and they're just almost like don't know what to do. I mean, at one point, I was certain there was 4 players surrounding him. Not one of them had the
Yeah.
guts to actually approach Eden Hazard.
No.
And I was
No.
just
And there was
like,
that bit where he just jinked inside, then he turned and he just forced the free kick, and it's opportunity out of nothing, from a standing point where he was, there was no pace. Do you know what I'm saying? It just goes, I was just purring, like just watching him, it's just great, isn't it, to have him back,
yeah,
Well, look, in the end, obviously, we saw it out. We got 3 points, and we put to bed a stat that I didn't actually realise until I got home and I read it somewhere that we haven't actually won a Premier League away game.
Yeah.
In September for 4 years.
Yeah. I'm
So we
so.
got that one today.
Yep. Thank God for that because I had no idea that was a stat.
No, I didn't know. It's not a stat I suppose you'd associate with us, especially not in the last 4 years when you consider that 2 of those years we were champions and all that, So we put that one to bed. But let's look at some individual performances. And I know a lot of people out there, I can see in the chat, everyone's very animated by the song, which we will get to in a bit, guys, because it seems to be, and I've just read some more news coming out, which we'll talk about in a minute regarding the FA in it now. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? But we'll talk about it in a bit, guys. Let's look at some of the individual performances out in the park yesterday. And I picked out 4 players. As I say, we've covered Alvaro Morata, his movement, the way he holds up the ball and he turns quickly too. He's really now, in the first few games, maybe he was getting, you picked up on that, didn't you, Mo, where you thought he was getting a little bit knocked off the ball, the physical side, but he's much more rigid now. He's using his body strength and he's very quick and he's very, very powerful. It's almost like he feels he can just roast the defence.
And people forget the 2 central defenders he was facing, Harry Maguire and Wes Morgan. They're not physically like the easiest players to face. They're not the fastest, don't get me wrong. I do think Harry Maguire is obviously a lot faster than Wes Morgan. However, the 2 players that he was facing, when it comes to a physical side of the game, the fight he put up was very, very good to see for all of us. And I think this is his 4th game. We've got to remember, it's just his 4th game at Chelsea. And and he hasn't played 90 minutes in each one of them. And that for me is just a confidence boost. And I feel like this is something, that game was the game where he just kind of is starting to show a bit of what he's getting used to. And that physical aspect in the Premier League is so vital, especially when you're a striker, especially when you play for Chelsea, because our hold-up play of a striker is the most important aspect of us being able to get our wing-backs forward. And if we can't get our wing-backs forward, it means we're less of an attacking threat. So the fact that he's already starting to show signs of improvement in that area, for me, is such a positive sign. And I can't wait to see what he does next after that, because I do feel like there's one aspect of his game that I've seen in the past that people don't know about yet and people have kind of forgotten about, but I can't wait to see it, because when it shows up, it's the part that I'm looking forward to. And it's basically when he gets the ball and he's facing towards the goal, when he runs at teams. Mate, I'm telling you right now, he's a dangerous player when he does that. And I honestly can't wait to see when he gets used to and reads the play in the Premier League and he starts doing that, it's just going to get a lot better, mate. I honestly can't wait for it.
I do think we've bought the real deal there. I really do. I'm really excited about Morata. I must admit, he looks the complete centre forward. And actually, someone sent me a message on my private on the Facebook, and they said, "Can you see any comparisons back in the day with like Peter Osgood or Kerry Dixon because of his head, and the way?" And I thought maybe Kerry Dixon, and the Azpilicueta Morata combination. We used to have Pat Nevin that used to nip down down the wings and chink those little, you know, he was absolute class, that little wee pat, and he used to, you know, sort of spin those balls in, and Dixon would rise and on, you know, as soon as it hit his head, it would be in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But you know, comparisons there, but we've certainly got a bit of class there.
Yeah.
I want to look at Antonio Rudiger, because I thought, and I have been thinking, you know, and every single I'm watching him, I'm thinking, do you know what? We've got a bit of class there too. Yeah, we've got a really good player there, an absolute colossus, isn't he? You know, he's tall, very elegant on the ball too, isn't he? He's very, you know, very clever. And I think Gary Cahill's got a real problem now getting back in this side, because this is a player, you know, as well. You know, for you, Antonio Rudiger, buddy.
Man, where do I begin? Firstly, there's been a bit of a mixture when it comes to him, and not by me in particular. I felt like it was a great signing for us because I think he's young, he's hungry, he's great on the ball, he's tall, and can be an aerial threat, and he can only improve as a player, especially under the guidance of Antonio Conte. When it comes to defensive side of things, I just feel like he will always improve any player that we sign. So I was already pretty confident with that aspect. Again, he's not played that many games for us. He's not familiar with the Premier League, but he's already showing a capability that I like more than anything. But on top of that, one thing that people have to remember is that last year, when we had three at the back, we had Gary Cahill, we had David Luiz, and we had Cesar Azpilicueta. The person that was distributing a lot of crosses happened to be David Luiz a lot.
Yeah, in the centre, it was almost like they were playing it wide. If either or of them had got them out of the three, yeah, and they were quite tight, weren't they? Yeah, it was distributed. It was David Luiz, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and what you've got is you've got players that can all play, you know, with their feet, and whereas the out ball was always Luiz, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes me so confident. They said it's the fact that this year we've got actually central defenders now who can play with that ball and actually be comfortable under pressure. And because one of the other things I'm noticing, because we play from the back and there's a certain sort of way, when we take goal kicks, for example, two of our centre backs go and to one side of each of the boxes, and Courtois ends up passing to one of them usually. And that is something that at first was making me very nervous, but at the moment I'm actually starting to become very confident with, because it's starting to show that if you have a player that is comfortable when they get balls in situations like that and can actually distribute well, you've already got an advantage just by being able to do that. And yesterday we did it consistently with Leicester, and Jamie Vardy was actually getting frustrated because they were just playing around him, and Jamie Vardy didn't know who to close down or how to close down the situation. So Jamie Vardy was saving his energy a lot more and using it sparingly where he can. So if we can do something like that again, Rudiger provides that sort of element for us now, and he's providing it on the side that I think will make it very tough for Gary Cahill to just keep his place, because I do expect him to get his place back, but I do think it'll be tough for him to keep it, and this guy will be knocking at his door for the remainder of the season. And we've got a lot of games coming up, but I think his performances already are starting to show that he's going to be a key figure at Chelsea for years to come.
For sure. Now, I put out on Facebook today that if someone had given me £1 for every time someone said to me, "Why did you get rid of Nemanja Matic?" There's always somebody else that supports another team, isn't it? The answer is just Bakayoko, isn't it? I mean, he is. I mean, I was just sat. I watched him and I thought, "Wow, we've got a monster here," you know, and. He's a Yaya Toure, isn't he? He's Chelsea's Yaya Toure. He is absolutely, he is immense, right? And I'll tell you, I'm really, really purring with this side, you know. And talk to me about Bakayoko, Mo.
Mate, where do I begin? I've been excited about this player from the moment we were linked with him. From the moment we were linked with him, I thought, oh my God, this is like a prayer. Someone's answered my prayers finally, because I've been praying for a player like Yaya Toure for years. Because people don't understand in the Premier League, when you have a central midfielder that can physically grab the ball and literally,
No, sorry, mate. Could you believe it? Look, Claude.
Claude. Oh, yeah, Claude is going.
And do you know what? Funny enough, right? You're not. Okay, we'll let him.
It would be Claude, wouldn't it?
Yeah, cool. But you know what? He sent me a text, right, this afternoon, because obviously we've got Arsenal, as we all know, on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he sent me a text. He said, "Mate, we're back. We're in this and all that." You know, I'll have to book him. Look, sorry, Claude. After Claude. Yeah.
Oh
mate,
my goodness.
We're back, mate. We're back. You know.
Oh, mate.
What can you say?
No, but as
There
I
you
was
go.
saying, yeah, as I was saying, I think with Bakayoko, I've been praying for a player like this. People don't
Why does he do
understand
that to me?
the specialty in having a player that is physically a dominant force in the league. Because there was early on in the game, there was one point when Alvaro Morata had a chance, and it came because of Bakayoko. Bakayoko picked it up from deep and literally just ran through the whole Leicester players.
Right, let me just tell him I'm going live. Yeah.
Go for it, mate. Claude's not giving up, guys. Claude is not giving up.
I'm live. Claude.
It's interesting, Josh. It's interesting that you
Claude.
say he's not as good as Matic, because I think Matic is a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Claude.
I'm not the type of player. I'm not the type
Claude.
of fan, actually, to be able to criticize a player like Matic, because I know what his strengths are.
Mate, I'm live right now. I'm live, mate. I'm on a live stream.
What's going on?
Oh,
I'm on a
God.
live stream, man, sod.
Are you?
Yeah, you know I am, mate.
What's happening?
What do you mean, what's happening?
You're on live?
I'm live right now, mate. I'm live on air.
Well, I'm telling you, we're coming for you next Sunday. We're back, mate. We are back.
We're back, mate. Do you know what I mean? You mean you're back? Well, this is the problem you're doing this, mate. You know, you get one win, you know, what you've forgotten about Liverpool then all of a sudden.
Well, no, we're back, boys. We're back. Forget all that. We're back.
Mate, the only thing you're back, mate, is the back of the, do you know what I mean? Back of the room, mate.
We're coming.
Right, mate, listen.
Well, we've got our confidence is up now, and I think we're coming there with plenty of confidence. I think we're gonna come and beat you, I'm afraid.
Ah, mate.
For the game, mate. I'll see you afterwards, buddy. Yeah. And listen, we're putting the strength together. Obviously, prior to it, or
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disturb your. I'm sorry. Anyway, I heard you had a lucky win yesterday, by the way.
Well, I don't think it was too lucky, mate. You know. By the way,
my report said that they should.
Yeah, he knew we were live.
You were hanging on in the end. You were hanging on for dear life.
No, mate, we weren't hanging on. We weren't hanging on, Claude.
Hey?
We weren't hanging on, mate. You enjoy your Europa League first, you know. You going, mate?
What, Europa League?
Yeah, we got a Champions League game, mate.
I'm quite looking forward to it. It's
Well, why not?
new, you know?
Well,
something new and something different.
Well, it's something you're gonna have to get used to, isn't it, mate?
No, we'll be back in it next year. We'll be back in the Champions League next year when we win the Europa League. We'll win the Europa League and we're back in it next year, mate.
You'll do it, Jose, will you?
But anyway, listen, boys. Listen, boys. Now, I'm being honest with you. I'll be happy with a point next week. To be honest with you, I'll be quite delighted with a point. But you know, you never know. We've beaten you the last 2 games. You know, football's a funny thing.
Yeah, of
Who
course.
knows? But hey,
We owe you one, mate, don't we, for them Wembley moments? But yeah, it'll be a good game, Claude. You know, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you, buddy.
I said the Community Shield doesn't mean anything. I mean the cup final. I think, as I said before the game, I didn't think you was up for it. I thought you were on the beach. But listen, Sunday is going to be a strange game. I feel the only thing I won't keep you long. The only thing I think is in our favour. I don't think Morata will give us as much problem as what Diego Costa would, but we'll see anyway. Well,
we will see, mate, and you'll see the real deal, mate. Do you know what I mean? But don't worry. But listen,
anyway,
mate, we're just.
Take care, boys.
Thank you, Claude.
See you Sunday, and
I'll speak to you tomorrow, mate. I'll speak.
Have a little chuckle after the game, yeah.
Yeah, 300%, mate. And I'll speak to you. I'll give you a call tomorrow, mate. Yeah, we'll tie something up this week.
All right, then, mate.
All right, buddy.
Care, boys.
Take care, mate. Cheers, bud. Ciao, mate. Oh, mate, and sorry about that, guys. It was it was so professional, wasn't it? There you go. Well, you know, and I can't believe he didn't know that because he's a subscriber. So surely we'd see the live thing come up and it would come out and sabotage the stream, like, you know. But there you go. That was Claude from Arsenal Fans TV. There you go. Bakayoko. So we did right. So we know we got the absolute real deal there with Bakayoko, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think what was interesting is I was actually trying to answer what Josh was trying to say. Josh was saying that Matic is actually still a better player than him. Now, that for me is an interesting situation to bring up right now because I do think Matic has certain strengths and certain experiences so far as a player that enable him to be a more of a straightforward pick at the moment. However, potentially, I think this guy Bakayoko can definitely surpass Matic without a doubt, even in my mind. Because Matic, people, what they have to understand is Matic, when we got him for one particular thing, which was to sit in front of the defense and basically distribute the ball. Bakayoko isn't just someone who can sit in front of the defense and distribute the ball. He's a box-to-box type of player, which means he will run also and get to the other side of the pitch and be able to create chances out of nothing. And I think he is physically he's far more dominant, and that gives me a lot of confidence with this player. And for that reason, I can't wait to see what this guy will do with Antonio Conte's guidance as a manager, because what people don't understand is this guy just needs a little bit of confidence and adapt into the league. And honestly, he will show his worth. And I can't wait to see when that happens. But yesterday, for me in particular, he was a breath of fresh air to that team. And he would pick up the ball, he would distribute them, make simple passes, make complicated passes, run with the ball when he needed to, but also be a physical specimen literally in that game where he was making it so difficult for Leicester in midfield. And I think that is something we've been looking forward to, because people have to understand we haven't been physically that dominant with N'Golo Kante and Cesc Fabregas. They're not the most physically demanding players. Nemanja Matic had that role, and Nemanja Matic, in my opinion, has actually gotten worse over the years because he suddenly thinks he's Messi and takes more touches than he needs to, and was just getting beaten at times when he didn't need to. And for that reason, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what happens with it.
I'm mega impressed with him. I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday, and I'm really pleased we got him, mate. You know, and let's be honest, we bought him to replace Matic. People forget that, you know, and they always centralise on the fact that, oh, why did you let him go? Because Bakayoko was bought prior.
Mate, and it's 40 million for a player that basically
we sold it to Man United because Man United offered the money, mate. Yeah,
exactly.
and that's a fact. I don't think in hindsight, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, of course. But strengthening them is probably the worst thing. But have we got a better player? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm. I agree with that.
What Jar's saying out there, but there you go. It's all about opinions, isn't it? Football. Okay, Cesc Fabregas then, mate. A little word about him. I thought he was absolutely superb. He was bossing it when he out there.
He was great, and his distribution was good. I felt sorry for him a little bit because I think Alvaro Morata is going to take a little bit of time getting used to the fact that Cesc Fabregas isn't the type of player where you have to call for the ball. You just have to make the runs, and he'll get the ball to you. And once Alvaro Morata understands that, because people also have to understand, Fabregas hasn't been called to the Spanish squad for a while. And for that reason, he hasn't got that sort of partnership with Morata just yet. But with more gameplay, more game time, it can only make this partnership between Morata and Fabregas even better. And yesterday, I felt like he was very good at being able to dictate the game for us. And unfortunately, we just couldn't take chances. And that was the biggest problem we faced yesterday. But yeah, Fabregas was class yesterday.
Zappacosta, I mean, he's used to that system, isn't he, under Antonio Conte? Well, for Italy, for the national side. And good player. Happy with him?
I'm happy with him. And again, he's a player that in that 10-15 minutes that he played for us, and he showed exactly what I was looking for more than anything, because Victor Moses isn't, again, the most physical player in the league, and for that reason he was going to cause us problems in matches where there's crosses happening or there's players facing that are physically more stronger than him. So yesterday when he came on, what I was looking out for more than anything is, can he win headers when there's balls crossed towards that direction? He did. Can he also make sure that physically, if someone is trying to use physicality against him, can he win the ball? He did. but also he went forward. He also almost scored for us, and those were all good signs. But I also loved the way in which he ran with the ball when he got. There was at one point he just literally paced down that right hand side, and I think that already gives me confidence with this player. With time, and under Antonio Conte, I can't also wait to see what happens with him. And I do honestly think that he might actually take Moses' place sooner than we might think.
Okay, right. Let's talk. Right, I want to talk about first and foremost before we get into the Morata song. Yeah, I want to talk about the Chelsea supporters yesterday, and in particular. Well, I just thought I thought our supporters were class yesterday, absolute class. The tune's another thing in a minute, yeah. The songs, we'll talk about that in a second, as I say. But I thought, you know, for 90 minutes, Chelsea fans give it absolutely everything. And we both mentioned, didn't we, coming out of the ground, we thought the fans were absolutely superb, really superb, you know.
Yeah, from the minute one till the last minute, they were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, look, let's talk about this what's that, controversy, and I believe there's a statement just come out now, guys, and basically it's to do with the FA now. Am I right in saying this, Mo? Are going to investigate Chelsea?
Yeah.
Regarding the Morata song. Now, right, okay. Yeah, right, I wrote something out on Facebook today. I don't know if you guys out there have seen it, and it was quite an intensive piece. And the way I look at words, right, is words are just words, right? For me, it's the intent behind the word, right? Okay. Now, I can see both sides of the coin here, right? Because look, since 2014, it's not a criminal offence, or it's certainly not an ejection situation from the stadium or a banning situation if any supporter that visits Tottenham Hotspur's ground says the Y word, right? And we all know that Tottenham, throughout 90 minutes, sing "Why Army" and "Why," to the old drummer and all that. And whenever whenever you go to Tottenham, all you ever hear is the Y word, you know. Why Army? Why Army? That's all you ever hear, isn't it? Yeah. Or, you know, I'm saying it like that because, you know, I'm trying to do the right thing, yeah, if you like, yeah, be diplomatic. But I think, right, I'm not going to deny that back in the 80s, 90s, but more so the 80s, you know, Chelsea, we used to say that word, right, why, yeah, and there was intent in it, right? There was intent in it, right? I'm not going to sit here and deny that factor, right, okay? There was. And anyone that says there weren't, they're talking shit. I was there and I know it was used in that respect. And there was a lot of other worse songs sung, a lot worse songs sung at the time, right, okay? So let's get it right, yeah? However, I think with everything in life, you've got to put it into context. And I don't think, right, would you say that the Tottenham fans singing that song, right, are being anti-Semitic or racist or what? Well, you'd probably say no. Is there intent to be that way? No, right? Now, in the same light, was there any intent by the Chelsea supporters? They were just recognising that that was their name. I'm not. Now, there might be the odd one or two that maybe, I don't know. I can't answer for everyone, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Was there any intent? And was there any need, Mo, right, for Chelsea and Alvaro Morata, but more so because they made it, even at Antonio Conte's press conference, they made a bit of a statement there, didn't they? And of course, they've come out and made a further statement. Do you think there was any need for that? Because all we're getting now, right, on social media is, there we go again, the Chelsea racist fans, you know, like the Paris incident where apparently 4 idiots represent 135 million of us, yeah, by their stupidity and because of their actions. Of course, they don't represent Chelsea supporters.
Yeah.
Thousands of Arsenal fans singing homophobic stuff about Ashley Cole and stuff like that. Does that mean they're all homophobic? Well, no. Do you know? So you have to put things into perspective. Look, the only thing I'd say is this, right? In 2017, is there a place for it? Probably not. I remember at the time I sat next to Francis, as you know, yeah, and a daughter and John, and I said at half time, I said, it's not exactly the greatest song to sing, is it? You know, and I swear to you, right, you know, I mean, you got to remember the guy's Spanish, and after the game, I was seeing with Thibaut Courtois, like walking off after the game, and of course, Courtois was one of the last players to come over to us, wasn't he, at the end, clapping the Chelsea supporters. But so was Alvaro Morata.
Yeah.
And the Chelsea fans were singing that exact song to him, and he was applauding it because he probably didn't know nothing about it, you know.
Yeah.
So we just heard the words Alvaro, do you know what I mean, or whatever. And but Courtois went towards him, and you could see him having a conversation, like in his you know, in his shell in his ear.
Yeah.
And you don't know, he might have been explaining it to him. I don't know, right? Because they came out with that very quickly, didn't they? That Chelsea only clamped down on it. And of course, we all know when we play Tottenham, those messages are out in the programme, they're up on the screens, and Chelsea are very they're very big on it, aren't they? Do you know? So I think you have to put all these things in perspective. I don't think Chelsea fans were saying it from that perspective. They weren't saying it from again, it's that word intent. It weren't like, you know, intent. It was just, they were just saying it because they knew that word represented those supporters, or that, you know, exactly the same way in which they say that about themselves. So I don't think there was any intent, right? However, I think with a Russian Jewish owner, right, and certainly people high up within the club that have a Jewish background, is there any, it's maybe time to any type of association with it? I don't know. Do you know what? I just don't know. What's your opinion on it, Mo?
And honestly speaking, it surprised me that the club have had to make a statement and the player has had to make a statement. I think being at the game and seeing the intent of the fans, I don't think it was meant in an intent to be malicious or to degrade in any way, shape, or form. But I think at the same time, it is quite risky to do stuff like that. And when it happens, it can go one of two ways. It can be either looked at and then people make it into a big deal, like kind of what they've done now, or they either look at it and think, okay, let's look at the intent, and like it's not really as much of a big deal. I think for me, the play statement is what I kind of will go with. And the play statement was he loves the fact that the fans have been supporting him and doing all of that stuff for him. But please, let's respect everyone. And I think that's a statement that I can get behind, because he didn't in any way, shape, or form accuse Chelsea fans of being a certain way. He's just said that can be perceived from what his words were. His words was, it can mean anything else. Therefore, let's be respectful.
But respect everyone. I think everyone gets that, of course.
Yeah.
But again, it's back to intent. Was the intent to disrespect the Jewish community? No,
there wasn't.
It was to make a reference to the exact same people that call them that word.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they call them that word. Even their merchandise, you know.
Yeah.
Tottenham have not made it an offence to say that word at their stadium.
I was having a conversation with someone that isn't necessarily a football fan, right? And I explained what does this word mean to you, and they said it means nothing to me right now. And I then went and explained what the meaning behind the word is and how it's perceived in the society that we live in today. And when I explained it, they were like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that that's what people like meant by it." Now, for me, what's important is this. As much as Oslo, we understand the intent behind it wasn't what it's been blown out of proportion to be right now. What it really depends on is what the Jewish community themselves think. And if the Jewish community themselves think, we don't like people using that, including the fans of Spurs who are using it, then they need to make a statement outward to say that can't be done by also Spurs fans. That doesn't excuse us doing it. All I'm saying is,
you know,
it needs to be across the board.
That is what you just said there, you know that.
Yeah.
Because that is the bottom line. Because if, for example, and we know he doesn't say anything or say a lot, a Roman Abramovich or a representative for Roman Abramovich said, "Look, do you know what? That's actually quite offensive to me."
Yeah.
And I love Chelsea, and what you got to understand is I don't particularly like to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if he brought bloody Tottenham hearing it every week.
Well,
but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the point I'm making here, right, is if he was to come out with something like that, I think, do you know what? I think every Chelsea fan goes, do you know what? Fair enough. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. Let Tottenham do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Conversation over. It's never going to happen again. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's a reference that everyone knows Tottenham as. Now,
exactly.
I'll tell you, I cannot tell you how many times I've been called Rent Boy, yeah? When we went to Man United last year, everyone that walked past was Rent Boy, Rent Boy, Rent Boy, Rent Boy, Rent Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we Rent Boys? You know what I mean?
Mate, I've been called it so many times when I travel up and down the country. As soon as they find out I'm a Chelsea fan, oh, Rent Boy, yet again, blah, blah, blah.
Rent Boy.
I'm like, just come on.
Well, and now we've got this overreaction from the FA. This is what I'm saying. Did it need to be said? Did it have to be said? Has it made it worse by coming out? Have Chelsea actually made a mountain out of a molehill? Because it was one chant that, to be honest with you, I never heard that chant before. That was the first time.
I'd never heard it either. That was the first time.
There was a lot of old school Chelsea at the game yesterday. A lot of old school Chelsea. I don't know. Listen, I don't know. There's no easy answer to any of this, right? But if anything that causes offence to someone, then let it be said so. But what I really object to is when it's almost like liberals, white liberals, have taken over the asylum, yeah? You can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say this, you can't say that. Well, it's going to get to the point where no one can say anything, yeah? However, if something is offensive, right, okay, then you've got to take that in consideration. We are owned by a Russian Jewish person, Roman Abramovich is just so. So I suppose, in 2017, it's time, and you don't really hear it that often, do you?
No.
Even the Williams song, he hates Tottenham.
Yeah.
That little bit gets added on the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know where to go with this, guys. All I can say is it was the first time I ever heard it. It's not like it's not ever been sung before, so it's not shock horror and all that. I don't think there was any intent whatsoever in the way it's been portrayed. It's like 3,000 racist Chelsea fans chanted. It's not like that at all, is it? It was a reference to the football club, Tottenham. But it's one of those grey areas, isn't it? That basically.
Look, it just, I think the biggest thing is this. I also spoke to a Spurs fan last night.
We don't need an FA. We don't need an FA inquiry, mate. It's not, we don't. Ridiculous.
We don't. That part is definitely ridiculous. Last night, I spoke to a Spurs fan, and I actually had a conversation where I was quite frank with him. I said, I was at the game. Here's what happened, mate. And the club have made a statement. How do you feel about it as a Spurs fan? And he said to me, look, I am Jewish. And he said, I'll be very honest. He said, I am actually offended by the word. And he said, I don't like our own fans. Yeah, and he said to me, I don't like our own fans using it. But he said, I also know a lot of our fans that use it because if you use something that is being used to hurt you as your own defense mechanism, as a shield, by actually embracing it, he said that's how some of them have used it. Some of them also have gone to us an extent where they basically have made it into a commercial thing that they're supposed to be known as this. He said, either way, he said, I don't agree with the use of the word because at the end of the day, it offends the Jewish community. And I said, look,
that's fair enough, dude. I just feel that, okay.
Yeah, from the moment he said that to me, I just said, look, I completely understand and I completely respect it. But I said, in football, we've got to understand there's certain banter that happens in football. There are certain chants that happen that sometimes can easily be taken out of proportion. I said, I have never heard any Chelsea fans sing that song before that match today. I've never heard it. So that was the first time I personally heard that song. Now, for the media to go as overboard with it as they have, and for the FA to make it a big deal about it like they currently are, I think that's a bit of an overboard overreaction. However, at the same time, as Chelsea fans, I think we need to take the safe situation and listen to what our club is saying to us, because the club will start to get questioned on the media as long as we get to use it.
How can you investigate us as a football club, though, Mo? Yeah,
Yeah.
about an incident that a few hundred people sang along to, something with no intention whatsoever to cause an offence, but yet they're going to investigate it, and yet up the bloody road you've got 40,000 people singing it, where their own club say there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean,
How does that work?
so
Will the FA then go to Spurs at Wembley their next home game and go, you know, I actually remember when we played Tottenham a few years back and they said everyone will be ejected if the word is said. And I don't think I heard it out of the Chelsea fans all game. But of course, Tottenham was singing it. So what are you going to do? Clear out 3,000 fans from the away ends?
Look, it's a very difficult situation, I think. Look, even within the Spurs fans, like I'm not a Spurs fan, but from what I've heard, it's even controversial within the Spurs fan base to use that word. There are some who are against it, and there are some that are for it. So we can't necessarily say all 40,000 of them do it, but we can say for a fact that if FA starts to investigate us and starts to take action in this situation, they also need to take action against their Spurs fans that are doing this, or put a ban on the word on everybody, because that's how you get rid of it. If they want to get rid of it, if they want there to be a clear, concise way that is understood by everybody involved, that's what you've got to do. You've got to give everybody the same rule, because otherwise it makes no sense.
What are the FA actually going to investigate? What is there to investigate?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea, because to me at the moment it doesn't make as much sense for this to be blown out of proportion like it is. And I think at the moment the way I look at it is, I was there at the game. I didn't feel like we were doing it with malicious intent, and that's not to say I was doing it. It was just to say the fact that when I looked at our fans.
Can I ask you a question, Mike? Did you sing it?
No, I didn't. But I didn't because for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's not something where I want to associate myself with at the moment, because the way I look at it, I could understand that it could also be looked at the way it is currently. So I'm like, I'm not going to take the risk of being in that position where I use a word like that, because I understand that sometimes it's not going to be seen as banter, regardless of my intent being banter or my intent being I want to support my play. From what I understand, whoever's created this song also did it to rhyme the word, because Madrid rhymes with that word. That's why they've done it.
Well, exactly. That's what I put in my write-up, mate.
Yeah.
The word Madrid. I don't think there was anything but, you know. Well, I don't know what to say, really. I just don't think there's any easy answers, you know.
No, I don't.
You know, obviously, look, you know, we stand up against racism, stand up against anti-Semitism. We stand up against it all, you know, because none of it's right.
Yeah.
But I think on this occasion, I think, look, as I said to you, you look back in the 80s and the 70s, and you know, football was completely different then. And yes, there was that element, yeah?
Yeah.
300%. 300%. The National Front selling newspapers outside Stamford Bridge. That's not to say they weren't outside Highbury at Arsenal and other stadiums all around the country. They used to have a bloody league table, you know. It was a totally different thing, yeah?
Yeah.
And that element was in it. And but I honestly don't. I think it's. Do you know? I don't think there's any easy answers. However, I think it should stop. Yeah. It should stop.
It's just bringing controversy that we don't need. I think that for me is exactly why I agree with the club statement and the player statement. And you've got to understand that from a player perspective as well, that's his name being used in that chant without his say so, without his permission. That in some way also has to be taken into consideration here, because at the end of the day, he at that game obviously didn't understand what the fans were singing there, but at the same time, people didn't also look at the intent behind it, and people won't know what the intent is. So you can't assume the worst just because it's Chelsea fans and say they would definitely be racist because they're Chelsea fans, they've done this in the past, or blah 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 blah. No, let's not go that far. Let's not be silly about it, all right? The club has made a statement, the players made a statement. Let's move on. Let's stop using the chant, and that's the end to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not an easy one, is it, mate? It's not. It's an hard one, you know, because I see kind of both sides, you know, and I do think there's a good arguments on both sides that are very, very relevant. But the last thing you want to do is cause offence to anybody.
Yeah.
Anyone, any nationality, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Let's be honest, right? It's just, you know, bottom line, isn't it? You know what I mean? The game's about everybody. It's the people's game, isn't it? You know, and it's just, you know.
Mm.
But by the same token, I think you have to put all these things completely and utterly into context. And as I've always said, words are just words, right? It doesn't matter what a word is, it's the definition or the definition behind it. What it is, it's always for me about the intent behind the words. Yeah?
Yeah.
What's behind the words? That's what really matters, you know.
Mm.
There you go. Okay. Marks out of 10 then, mate, for the performance.
And I'm going to go with a 7.5. I think we created plenty of chances. I felt like we were in control. I felt like we were confident. I felt like there was great individual performances. 7.5 is definitely a fair representation of it. I feel like I would have probably marked it up had we scored more goals. But 7.5 is probably the best I can give it at the moment.
Okay. I'm going to give it an 8, mate. I thought we were very good first half. Just didn't have the cutting edge or didn't take the opportunities, if you follow where I'm going with it. But apart from the Morata goal right at the end of the first half. But I thought second half we were very controlled, very good, really good, you know. There's actually a video I put out on Facebook where Eden Hazard, I noticed it weren't in the vlog actually. I thought it was a good bit of filming by me. But Eden Hazard's waiting to come on, isn't it? And Chelsea have got possession of the ball and it just went on forever, didn't it?
Oh yeah, the Eden Hazard song. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was waiting to come on, wasn't he? You know, it's like we had the ball, we're just knocking it about. No, we're very controlled now. I'm going to give us an 8 out of 10. Hey, on the way back, there was a bit of trouble there, wasn't there, mate? A little bit of.
Yep, it kicked off.
Yeah. It was a little bit naughty going back to the. And give me that one. I was in that car park, and he said to me, "Mate, if you're coming in here, you've got to come in reverse."
Yeah. Oh God. I don't know how you made that happen, Tony. I should have probably recorded it.
Do you know what amazed me? You know when you turn around and you said, "Tony, you went into that little spot there." I'm reversing. I said, "You do it, mate."
Oh my God.
It was an absolute nightmare, wasn't it, mate? Do you know
it was not easy whatsoever.
Okay, quick word on Liverpool then, mate. Quick word on the...
They got whooped.
Demolition.
They got whooped. They didn't show up. That's all I can really say. That red card screwed them up, but they didn't also show up, in my opinion. And I was very impressed. I'm going to say, because we were watching on our way back the Stoke Man United game.
Man United, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Stoke were very impressive. Kurt Zuma put in a good shift. I was very happy to see that.
Brilliant, wasn't he, Zuma? Absolutely superb. You see, that's it. You see, it's our little move there.
There you go, man. Agent Zuma is working for Stoke at the moment.
Agent Z doing his job. Did you see Mourinho though? Again, you know, he's not a bad sportsman, sure, is he? You know, might even shake the hand of Mark Hughes, really. Did you see that? Did you not see that, mate?
Yeah. What? The Mourinho not shaking Mark Hughes' hand?
And he stormed off out of the interview, didn't he? So it's a stupid question. He goes, "I don't want to answer." He just went off from, you know.
He's a bit bitter, isn't he? Like, I mean, you've only just drawn a game. You've got 10 points. You're top of the table. Calm down.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arsenal, of course, 3-0. We just go from Claude. I think they're well beaters again. They're going to win the league, going to win everything, can't they? And Spurs winning 3-0 too.
I mean, Danny Welbeck is world class at the moment. He's only gone and faced Bournemouth, who basically didn't show up. Like that was a defense that was so bad. I mean, Bournemouth need help at this point, in my opinion. They need to fix that defense, and they need to fix it fast.
What do you make of the league then? I mean, right, with 4 games in now, obviously terrible start, 3 wins, and we're just only a point behind the 2 Manchesters, aren't we? And of course, we're above Spurs and Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So it's not too sad. We're nicely tucked in, aren't we?
Yeah, I think.
Shame we didn't get a little draw against Burnley, wasn't it? We got that last minute one, and we could have been all sat there on.
We were so close,
10,
man.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have the ideal start, but I think to be 1 point behind and it's basically 4 games in, I feel like it's a perfect start, and in a way, because I think I look at it, and the Manchester clubs are ahead of us. But when you look at the hand that Manchester United have been dealt with, and it's a lot more smoother of a ride than ourselves. And for that reason, I feel like, I mean, we've got Arsenal next already, and that for me already shows you again that the games are not necessarily easy, and it's going to be a funny league. I think this league is definitely what you said. It's going to go down to the wire. It's not going to be an easy league this year.
I do, mate, and I've got my own theory on the fixtures, and you know, you heard my theory on the fixtures. It's a bit of a long-winded one. If you haven't seen it, watch one of the other streams, because I do think there's, you know, something not right about that, the way it's been dealt with. I do think there's something in it, you know, but
yeah,
you know, obviously with human involvement. In my naivety, I thought it was all electronically done, but of course it's not, is it? You know, but there you go. Okay, right. I just want to let you know, guys out there, what's coming your way on Chelsea SW6, and I want to thank people out there for watching, obviously tonight. And I'll make a note of it, guys, because what we're trying to do now is be a little tad more consistent, if you like, and separate things from Facebook and YouTube. And you might notice the old style videos that I put up, and it's not fantastic, but that sort of stuff goes up onto Facebook. You might have seen I've done a little back in the day one, didn't I, about Leicester City and Filbert Street and all that, didn't I, which went up on the Facebook group. And got quite a lot of views, didn't it, mate? You know, and stuff like that. And you might have seen also, guys, we've done the road trip, didn't we? We've done the road trip to
Leicester.
Leicester going up, and obviously one of the reactions coming back. We're going to do quite a few of those this season because we thought we'd try it out, and it seems that people like it. There was over 1,700 people, wasn't there, that
watched it,
watched that, which we were shocked with. I got to say, and thank you very much, you know, for getting yourself involved. But just to let you know, as you know, that there's a vlog up right now from the game at Leicester. There'll be a review in the same style that's been done. I don't know if you've seen those, guys. They're lovely, really, really well put together, which Mo does and gets my little thoughts, don't you, mate, on it. And there's one of those to be going up tomorrow for the carrier bag game, for the Tuesday.
Carrier bag. I can't believe you're still calling them carrier bag.
Well, I am, mate. I am going to call them carrier bag. I can't wait. You've got to find out about them, mate. You've got to find out who these strikers are.
I don't even know where I'm going to start. Guys, anyone that's going to help me, anyone that's going to help me find out news about carrier bag, or no, carrier bag, not carrier bag.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there'll be a review of the game, a video that'll go up on that particular one, and now it's time to put a stream out for the Arsenal one. Although we might, or we might just do another review video style for Arsenal for Sunday.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to do? Yeah. But what we will definitely do is it would definitely do a preview stream. So we're going to, the review will be done up tomorrow. The vlog's up now. The review will be done tomorrow.
Preview.
The preview will be up tomorrow, which will be a video. Give it the old thumbs up, guys. Give it the likes and that, and share our content, please, right? Because it's, you know, we're starting to get out there now, and it's great. We're putting a lot of effort into it. And then we've got the we'll have a stream, which will be a review of the carrier bag game. That'll probably be Wednesday night. Yeah, will I be saying it? Yeah, Wednesday night. Okay, that'll be sort of around the similar sort of time, 9:30. And 9:30 we'll call it, and then there'll be another preview video for Arsenal, which will probably go up Saturday. Can I be right in saying that?
The preview video, yes.
And then obviously the normal content going off at Arsenal, and of course there'll be another vlog for the Arsenal one, and of course a stream the Monday after the Arsenal game. Which we probably get called on. Afsel, Kenny, maybe even or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So we'll get some gooners on for sure. So as long as you sort of you know, you've got that in, you know what's happening, guys. That's all well and good. Pretty much it then, Mo. Any questions out there? We should have a little 5-minute questions.
Yeah, let's hear
Anyone
some
want to put a
questions.
question to us, guys?
Let's hear some questions.
Can't wait with the Champions League music again. Yeah, neither can I. And funny enough, you know, there's a brilliant video we've done of the Paris game, the prior to the game, with all the flags and the music and everything. Fantastic. And I honestly thought that day, I remember sitting in that stadium thinking, that's it. You know,
Ooh,
we'll
Mr.
see this
Zidane,
again.
I like that question.
Yeah.
Do you think Masonda will start against Karabakh?
Yeah, it's weird. We were talking about Charlie Masonda, weren't we? The other in the live Facebook vid, and
Charlie Masonda.
I don't. No, I don't.
I
I
don't
think he'll
expect
play
him to
against
start.
Forest.
I feel like, but oh yeah, I think he'll definitely play in that game. It'd be nice to see him on the bench. I would say it'd be nice to see him on the bench, but something tells me we might not even see him on the bench. But it'd be nice to at the very least see him on the bench, because I think that's a good game to at least bring him on. As a sub, I feel like he can definitely do something in that game. Even as a starter, he could do damage in that game. But my hope is actually what Draza said. Christensen should definitely start. Christensen definitely deserves to start.
What, for Champions League?
For the Champions League game, yeah. I would say that.
Really?
Yeah, mate. Honestly,
Gary Cahill going on?
Oh, mate. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about Gary Cahill. This is where I'm stuck at. He's our captain. So, like, in a part of me is like, he's our captain. He has to play. But then a part of me is like, no, but our three defense at the back at the moment are so solid together. They've got an understanding, and it's looking like they're covering each other's weaknesses very, very well. And I feel like Gary Cahill coming on, I don't know if he'll interrupt. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of these quotes lately, and since basically our last game, he's been raring to go, and he's been saying that he's obviously been raring to go since that red card happened and all of that stuff. But mate, I just want us to actually be able to think about this one, because I do feel like there are certain tendencies that Gary Cahill has that I don't want as a weakness in our defense. So I'm a bit in a limbo on that one.
Is it Chelsea FC? Tony, what is he going to? Elliot was at the game yesterday, wasn't he? A couple of seats down from me, funny enough.
Yeah.
And Hugo was at the game, I believe, but I never saw him. But the situation with Elliot, he wanted to take a back seat, not be behind the camera, wasn't it, and stuff like that, wasn't it? That was some time ago, Dave. That was, you know.
Yeah.
But he was at the game yesterday, Elliot.
Yeah, he was.
No, it's not. You know, I tell you what, he looked white as a sheep, didn't I? I said, mate, you need to get yourself well. He said, mate, I feel ill. Mate, it's going well, mate. You're flipping. You look like a ghost, isn't it?
Oh, mate, I don't even know where to begin. And
yeah,
and we have to play our full
How on earth is that Morata chant racist? Well, that's kind of what I was half trying to say. Because it was said about a team that call themselves just that. But you have to look at the deeper sense of things, and we have a Jewish owner, and you said that you spoke to a Jewish, you got a Jewish idea on it, didn't you, Mo? Yeah. And he said that he doesn't like it. It's offensive to him. So if it's offensive and the word's offensive, then look, do you know what? There's hundreds of songs out there. I spoke, and I even said at the time, you know that, to Francis, didn't I? And everything else. I said, you know what? I said, really and truly, what a song, really. We should have, you know, just thinking about it logically, you know. Yeah. But I think it's a complete overreaction what's going on right now. I do.
Yeah.
In terms of the FA, and I think maybe with the club coming out with it. But then maybe Chelsea just want to just say, look, we just don't want none of it, you know, and you know, they're making that just, you know, putting, you know, do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's a really hard one, and it's I could say there's points on both sides. My dad used to say, if you could never make a decision, or you just do nothing, right? But on this occasion, as I said, I think if a spokesman or someone for Roman Abramovich, or Roman Abramovich even himself, or his press officer, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Come out with a statement and said, "Look, I've got to tell you, I'm really offended by this." Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I think, can we just, one of them, just stop it. I don't. It might not seem to you, or I can see your point, and I know that lot down the road sing it, and that's what they sing, and that's their point of reference. But I'm asking you, you know what I mean? I think that would just kill it. Do you not think so? Because no matter what, we all love Roman Abramovich, don't we? And we all respect everything that the man has done. And everyone, we've got a massive Jewish. People don't realise, actually, we've got a few other members of our board members and stuff like that. But there you go. I don't know. You know what? I just think, I wish we weren't talking about it, to tell you the truth, you know what I mean? But we are, aren't we? And it's just something that's got to be discussed. And I dare say you're not going to please everyone with whatever you say. It's very difficult, isn't it?
I think it's just about being respectful in a way. And I'm not saying that we were being disrespectful in our intent, but if a discussion is to be had, be respectful in understanding that you can't also assume that the intent behind that song was actually to be malicious. And I think for that reason, like, now that the club have made a statement and the players made a statement, let's see what happens from here onwards. The FA didn't need to make a statement about having to do an investigation, but at the moment, it's just a rumor. The FA haven't come out and said, yeah, we are doing it. The rumor is, though, that the FA will probably make an announcement to say that they will make an investigation. At the end of the day, I do think it's blown out of proportion, and it's not the intent. And I don't think anyone will be singing that song again. But at the same time, let's make sure that the club then also, we all don't make a big deal about it, because it's not really as much of a big deal as we're making about it, because we have to understand the intent wasn't malicious. But yeah, that's about it.
No easy answers, is there? Really isn't. It's one of those. I'm just, someone tweeted, said they sent me a tweet. I'm trying to look for it. Actually, was it a private message? I don't know. I'll have a look in a minute. Any other questions out there, guys?
And there was a question about Baba Rahman. Do we expect to see him play for the first team at some point?
No, I don't. No, he might get a game, I suppose, if we're, but I think we've got so many options now. I think he's well down the list, isn't
he? Yeah.
Although apparently he had half decent. He was in Schalke, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Out there, I'm sure he would have enjoyed it out there.
Yeah,
I love my.
They were trying to take him back this year as well, but unfortunately they couldn't get that done in time.
I had his agent. I'm sure it was his agent. It was an African, was from Ghana, a writer, and Prince. What's his name? Prince. And I wrote a piece for his magazine, and that about Baba Rahman. He wanted a Chelsea perspective, on it.
And who are Chelsea's biggest rivals for the league title? That's from Josh.
From the league title. Well, Manchester United, Manchester City.
Oof.
And then it's Tottenham, Arsenal, Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool.
But
I think it's Man City and Man United.
Okay.
I think our fixtures are very hard this year, guys. I know everyone plays each other, but I think the way it's been all, and I think we'll get spread. Maybe, I don't know. I still think we're good enough to do it. Man City look good though, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. And I think the thing with Man City is, last year I had complete confidence that Man City was not going to be a problem, and that was to do with their aging squad. This year they've addressed that. They've addressed the one big major problem that they had in that squad. It was aging and it needed fresh legs. They've gotten fresh legs, and I think now it's about, can he get these players to gel enough well together and rotate them enough to actually get them a title. And this year, in my opinion, if Pep doesn't win a title, Pep needs to be questioned, because he's now spent quite a lot of money. People have to understand, he spent a lot of money. Now there's an expectation of him to win titles, and he has to. He has to.
Do you think if he doesn't succeed this season, if they don't win the league, I mean, just going by Manchester City standards, and I say that I don't want to be disrespectful to Man City, but they are a Johnny-come-lately club, and you know what I mean. And I don't mean that in a But having said that, they've still won the league in the last 4 years, and they were knocking on the door quite regularly, weren't they? And they've had a couple of, 2, 3 dodgy seasons. Not dodgy, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
and I do feel with his name, his reputation of it. I mean, we, after all, were always after Pep, or at least Roman Abramovich was.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't deliver after 2 seasons, do you think, does it ruin his legacy, for example? And do you look at that? And
I mean, do you know what I think gives him confidence is the fact that the behind the scenes, Man City have basically put together a project and thinking about Pep. They've got a former backroom staff that basically used to be at Barcelona and have worked under Pep in the past, or have worked in partnership with Pep in the past, and that I think is a big confidence boost for him. So if he has another bad season, I think they would give him another season. But at the same time, I do feel like it would be a failure in this season. I even said last year that they should have done better, but they didn't. This year they've spent money. They've gotten quite a lot of players in. I feel like they're stronger than last year. I feel like the squad has a better depth in squad, better depth as a squad. And now is the real question is, can he get them to gel together, and can he actually get them to win stuff? And if he can't get them to win stuff, it's definitely something he has to be questioned about.
My football tweets. He would like to work with SW6 to do the social media side of things and that. I think that's what it is, isn't it? And if that's right, yeah, fantastic. Get in touch with us, mate. We'd love to have a chat with you, wouldn't we?
Yeah, sounds fantastic. We love adding more people to the team, don't we?
Yeah, sure, for sure. Yeah, got a great team, by the way, on the Facebook. It's really, really good. Really, really good. Any more questions, or should we?
I think
wrap it. Should we wrap it?
I think we should wrap it, because I think that's about it for the questions.
No problem. My football tweets? No problem. Yeah, get in contact with us, mate, and help us out. More Chelsea fans, the merrier. Right, okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'll first of all thank Mo. Thank you for tonight's contribution, buddy. Always a pleasure,
my friend. Thank you.
I also want to say out there, guys, and wish him a speedy recovery. Get well soon to Paul Cannaville. Paul Cannaville is one of the admin on the Facebook group, and he was rushed into hospital. And I just wish him well. Love Paul Cannaville, love Canners, and get well soon, mate. And also a little appeal out there to you guys out there. If you could like and share our stuff as much as possible, because we really are now starting to make a bit of an impact. I think the quality's going up, and of course the quantity's going up at the same time, which means there's a bit more pressure on us, but we're doing it for all the right reasons, guys, and trying to stay clear from the what's the right word?
From the status quo, I would say.
The crass type shit that we want to represent the club in the right way, and that's the most important factor, isn't it? Yeah, we all love Chelsea, but we don't want to, we don't want pantomime City, So you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if and if you can like and share our stuff as much as possible, guys, it really, really makes all the difference. As I say, we've got over 3,000 subscribers now, so it's really massive little move that was for us, guys. So obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you like the video, obviously press the like button. Join the old Facebook group. As I say, nearly 81,000 now, Mo, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's going up. And I want to thank all the contributors on the Facebook group. People like Francis Sears, Dave Stanley, fantastic, absolutely superb contribution. Norman, he's absolutely superb. Everyone out there, actually. Oh God, is it Gianfredo, the Italian? And by the way, he's offered us. He was telling me about the Chelsea Roma fans. Not Roma fans, Lazio fans. Lazio fans saying there's a big Chelsea meet. You know what I mean? Out there in Rome and stuff like that. So thank you to everyone that helps and everything else. And thank you to you guys too out there for watching us tonight. And join us for the next stream, which will be Wednesday night. Keep the blue flag flying high, guys.